can't touch each other. So basically, if a girl picks up a ground ball in her own end, she can just run down and shoot and score. But that's not happening. Uh-oh. I hear something. I hear noise. I hear noise coming from, is that maybe your microphone? Watch your coffee, don't spill your coffee. That would be bad. Wow, look at that high-tech equipment you got there.
Copy, I got nothing.
Oh, you don't have anything?
Am I plugged in?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I can't hear me at all.
Well, I'm thinking he's got something. How's this?
Go, no.
No?
No, go.
No? How about
yeah, ow, that's loud.
Ow! 1, 2, 3. Oh, there you go.
Check one.
I think, Johnny, I think we're getting through to him. All this talking, I think we got through to him. You there? I'm hearing shit. You hear shit in the background?
Yeah. Just the return or whatever?
Yeah.
Do we have to tape, did we get a new connection? Remember?
Oh my God, dude. This stuff, at like 104 and 103, I thought they had the crappiest equipment in the world. This has got nothing on them.
Yeah. Wow. San Jose taking down Colorado.
Yeah, I saw that. Calgary lost. I hadn't expected that. Hey, here's some, I pulled these off the sheet here. When the Bandits score first, they're 8-1. When they're leading after the first, they're 10-1. When they're leading at half, they're 8-1. When they're leading after the third, they're undefeated. So
it pays to get out of the gate early.
Yeah, you think?
I think Evan.
You should be a coach somewhere. Wouldn't it be cool to be a coach?
Oh, I'd like to coach somewhere. Player game by game. Oh, beautiful. Look at the statistics.
So, back to my daughter's story. So yesterday, I'm talking to her, and me and one of the other parents were sitting there going like, the girl's got a lane. The only thing between her and that's the goalie. Nobody's in front. She stops and she turns and passes. And I'm kind of, yeah, we got all kinds of noise. I can't hear Kyle. I hear music. Hey Kyle, are you there?
Kyle.
I'm hearing music from here.
Kyle, check Kyle.
Can Kyle hear us?
Kyle, can you hear me, Kyle? Kyle. John, Kyle.
Derek, Mercy. Derek. Clyde. I'm hearing like distorted music, like background music. It's like this music here. It started like 2 minutes ago. How's it? Wow, I can't hear much of anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Here.
Kyle. It's Kyle.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Anyway. Oh, now I got nothing. I just hear me. Do you hear?
I just hear me too.
I hear you though.
I hear you. Well,
I can hear you. Yeah. That could be kind of bizarre. I'm gonna turn myself up a little bit.
No station audio. Nothing.
I got email. Hold on. What am I hearing?
I got nothing.
Hold on a second. Let me turn them up. Is that you?
Who?
I have you?
Who are you talking to?
Kyle? Is that Kyle? I don't know. I never met the dude.
Kyle.
I
can't hear you. I can't hear anything.
Kyle. Where are you?
Kyle, I can hear you. Kyle, I can hear you. Kyle, talk to me.
Something permanent? Randy John.
Okay, Randy John. Kyle. Can you hear us? Kyle.
How are we doing so far?
Kyle.
Every community, I can hear some. Is that audio?
That's the feedback from the radio.
Yeah. From,
You want us to just go to the IFB booth and do the game from there?
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
This is unbelievable.
I can hear the playback. And every community's trying to.
Are you getting the audio?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we're getting the radio station, every audio.
Radio station.
This is the worst.
We have to go back to 1966.
All right.
Way back in the day.
But it's not. I mean, hear us, but we don't. If they could turn the audio up from the station up.
Kyle, I can hear you. You just said John and Randy.
I heard it. Yeah, if Kyle could turn himself up a little, that'd be cool.
Kyle.
Dr. Thompson's talking. So, Randy.
So, Scott.
So, here I am, videotaping my daughter. She scores a goal. So I said, I made the comment, I said, now if I can just get her to score on something other than a penalty shot. She looked at me, I thought you were going to kill me. She heard the playback.
Oh, yeah, because you get the free position, right?
Yeah. So, but
breakaway.
Well, the thing was is she did make a nice move in front of the net, and she took the shot, bounced it. Goalie got a leg on it. It was a nice save, but she had 3 times in front of the net. All she's got to do is turn and shoot, and she passes the ball. The coach wants them to pass more. She doesn't want them to be ball hogs. How you doing, Kyle? Can you hear us still?
Kyle, Chugsy.
Where's Chugger? Is he?
Kyle, Chugsy.
Chugger.
Kyle. How's your knee, man? Next week?
Scratches?
Sorry? We're trying to get connected. It's a freaking disaster every freaking week, man.
Oh, that sounds good. Hey, Kyle, that sounds good.
Hey, Kyle, you there?
You sound good, dude.
You're sounding fantastic.
We sound really good because John's not here.
Well, hopefully we keep the connection.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, you talk to Kyle. I'm gonna go tell John that we're championship right now.
Yeah, tell him I'm gonna put the computer up. I'm gonna get booted. Well, that's allegedly speaking. Is there a definition in a dictionary that says what snapping is? I hear everything.
Kyle? Hi, how you doing? Okay, are we good? All right, thanks, bye. Hang on just a minute.
Yes, 2 channels of Howard Stern 24/7.
I think it's all right.
The NBA, college sports, and NASCAR.
See you later.
Yes to comedy, news, talk, and more. To a subscription that's less than 50 cents a day. Say yes. Enjoy over 10 million listeners.
I'm sorry, John. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with
Say yes. Sirius Satellite Radio. The best radio on radio.
I've done that. Just if it's not one thing, it's another.
What's up, baby? What time are we going on? Yeah. Okay. This is just horse shit.
Fans, good afternoon and welcome to the HSBC Arena, home of your Buffalo Bandits. Now this afternoon, it's a matinee and we welcome the opponent. I'm getting sort of sworn. But before we do that, let's welcome to the floor for the first time this afternoon. It is your Buffalo Bandits.
Bandits.
How far away are we? What's this? Team Canada?
Hey, we're locked and loaded.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
That's all that counts.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
How did Wednesday go?
What's that?
How did Wednesday go? Wednesday. Didn't you play Wednesday?
We did. We lost on the road, but then we won yesterday. Here we go.
Did you play at home yesterday? How's that? Can you hear this okay?
Check.
How's
That's
that?
good for me.
How's
I like
that?
it.
How's that?
I'm loving it.
You hear it? You hear it?
Yeah.
You hear it? That sound okay?
That's good. That's
Kyle,
good
it's okay by you? 10-4. Are you with it?
I'm with it.
Thanks.
And now, let's welcome your playoff-bound 2007 Buffalo What? At defense number 3, Billy D. Smith. Also at defense number 5, Clay Hill. At defense number 6, how about Chris White?
Bring us in.
Forward, number 9, Mark Woodhouse.
Thanks.
At defense, number 10, welcome back, Pat McCready. At forward, number 15, Peter Pettit. At defense, number 17, Kyle Laverty.
Jeez.
Also at defense, number 18, how about Phil Sanderson? A forward, number 26, give it up for Brett White. Goaltender, number 86, Daniel Sands. A forward, number 51, how about Kevin Dusty? Also aboard, number 54, Jason Crosby. In goal tonight, number 66, Mike Thompson. Up forward, number 72, Corey Buckberry. Up forward, number 99, he's Kelvin Ellis. Your Chris Bandits, led by number 27, defenseman for Parksville. British Columbia, Kyle Cooley.
A beautiful day outside in downtown Buffalo, but inside an HSBC arena, it's just as beautiful. It's playoff time in the National Lacrosse League. Good afternoon, everybody, and down the line on the B2 Network and those listening on the East Coast of Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. This is game number 1, first round of the series with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. And alongside is my broadcast partner, Randy Mearns. And Randy, always an exciting time of the year. Everything goes out the window, speaking for the regular season. Everybody starts at square one, and you got to give a lot of credit to these Minnesota Swarm for playing the type of lacrosse they did this year to get the position that they're in right now.
Yeah, in talking with Dewey Jacobs, Mike Lyons, and the coaching staff of the Minnesota Swarm. You know, with the new coaching staff, you have to figure out what your team's all about, what players that you have, what chemistry really works. And through the year, they were able to come down to a very key lineup that's gotten them into this playoffs. They're young, they're talented, they can get up and down the floor. They got good leadership in guys like Ryan Cousins, good goaltending. They're pretty excited. And as you said, John, it's a clean slate. It's a one-game playoff. It's win or go home. Anything can happen in 60 minutes.
Marty O'Neill, who's the general manager, Dwayne Jacobs, former assistant coach of the Buffalo Bandits, behind the bench as the head coach. They put together quite a composite of a team, and Ryan O'Neill, or Marty O'Neill, has mentioned about he's putting together personality first, for everybody to play as a team together, and they're led by Ryan Ward, a top player for Minnesota.
Oh, Ryan Ward, a very, very sharp shooter, big, heavy shot with the right hand. Scott Stewart, I mean, they have offensive guys, they have defensive guys, they have great goaltending. And again, as Marty O'Neill says, it's all about the character.
We're in the mixture of the anthems here at HSBC Arena. We're going to take this time out and be ready for the opening draw. You're listening to Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse this afternoon on WWKB 1520. I guess for the next pregame show, we're going to have to come in a little bit earlier. I'll get that straightened out with Kevin. Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle does a good job, doesn't he?
Just horseshit. Don't need to go through this. Living at the edge of the rope all the time. Worried about technology when I know nothing about it. It's no big deal.
B2.
You can do it. Make it work.
Oh, I can do it. There's no problem, but it's just, I don't need to worry about it. I'm pretty easy. I'd call the game from a phone booth. Doesn't bother me.
Coffee or anything?
As long as my buddy's here.
B2.
I don't think they're with us today. Yeah. I think what they've done is B2 wanted the game feed, which was the guy downstairs. Are we that bad?
This is our last game together.
What?
We're going to get fired.
I mean, we do a halfway decent job, don't we?
I think we do all right. I think you're great. I think you get it done, man.
We're in the middle of the American anthem. No. 30. Scotch, Scotch, Scotch. I love Scotch. Scotch in my belly. You know what that's from? Anchorman. Kyle, did you watch Anchorman? Scotch, Scotch, Scotch. Response from the crowd here at HSBC Arena for the singing of the Canadian and U.S. anthems. Good afternoon once again. John Gertler, along with Randy Mearns, my broadcast partner, Kyle Scody, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, statistician. And the Mercury Vapors are on high here at the arena for the first game, single game elimination with the Buffalo Bandits and the Minnesota Swarm. The Swarm, the team that general manager and head coach Darius Kilgore calls much better than they were last year, and that's just for the fact that they played yet another season together, and it's that gritty style, never give up lacrosse that has put them in a position where they are today.
Yeah, they have a lot of grit. They're very aggressive on the GBs. They like to transition the ball. Again, as Marty O'Neill has built and Dewey Jacobs, it's all about character. They have a lot of character guys. Guys, you're not going to find superstars on the Minnesota Swarm, but you're going to find a lot of guys. Everybody's going to buy into their role. They got their defensive guys, Dean Hill, Ryan Cousins. You got your offensive guys in obviously Ryan Ward, Casey Burns. These guys can get the job done. And look at Buffalo. I mean, Stevie Dietrich, obviously, he's still recouping from that knee injury. We don't know if we're going to get him back. Buffalo's going to have to rely on another solid effort from Mikey Thompson.
And he is between the pipes for the Buffalo Bandits as we start to zero in on the opening draw of this afternoon's game. Thompson coming in with a regular season record of 5-4. .759 save percentage. To our broadcast right for the first quarter as we're underway. Nick Patterson coming into this afternoon's game with a regular season save percentage of .775 and a 7.5 in record. And from the draw, Minnesota immediately with the ball down into Buffalo territory. Travis Hill with it and getting checked along the boards by a host of Bandits, and the bouncing ball is picked up by Jason Crosby. Here's another player that's got to have a very strong game for Buffalo.
He certainly does. You know, Johnny Tavares on the left-hand side needs some help. Obviously, Johnny Tavares is going to be the key, but Jason Crosby got to win the faceoffs like he did there. He's been really taking a lot of the faceoffs, but he's got to get that hard shot, that pick-and-roll game going for Buffalo to be successful today.
John Tavares out on the floor, 103 points during the regular season. Working the ball, Corey Bomberry, lead pass intended for Dostie, but that's intercepted by strong defense of Minnesota, and they clear it back out to midfield. No score here in the opening minute of play. Again, great to have you with us this afternoon on National Lacrosse League action with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. Ryan Ward working the ball. Over to Casey Burns in over the line. From the left point, Burns tripping it back over to Sean Pollock, goes field wide. And the Swarm trying it from outside the line. Nice job by putting the ball down to the near side. Shot! In and out of the crease it goes from Thompson and bounces along the boards, and a stoppage in play here. And a change of possession will afford the Bandits to come out of their own zone. Kyle Laverty brings it out to midfield, and Buffalo's offense takes over as Jason Crosby back out on the turf, working it with Dan Teat. Teat trying to dial through a couple of Minnesota defenders, but the ball is stolen, and Minnesota brings it back out to midfield. Minnesota waiting for their attackers to come out onto the field. Ryan Sharp, who was acquired from Portland in that transition, and will leave the ball alone to Scott Stewart. Fine players for Minnesota, one of them of which, Dean Hill, working the ball in over the Buffalo line. Then they go to the far side, so Minnesota setting up nicely. And Kyle Cooling got wrapped up with one of the Minnesota players and affords Buffalo to come out of their own zone after the 30-second clock expires. And Pat McCready, who's back out on the turf after sitting a couple of games due to back spasms. That'll mean a lot, Randy, to have McCready back in the lineup.
He's their key ground ball, loose ball guy, transition guy. I mean, he brings that fire and energy to the offense and to the Buffalo Bandits, and he's a key component for Buffalo to be successful.
Buffalo with a shot, but Ryan Cousins brings the ball out, so it's a quick transition for Minnesota just outside the Buffalo line. Couple of minutes played here in this game, no score, with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. Ball working along the way by Sean Pollock. What a great season Pollock had. He's got it now from the top of the slot, goes field wide. Long shot drave on by Dean Hill, and Thompson comes up with the first fine save. Minnesota getting their own rebound, working the ball. Another shot on, score, Minnesota. And the goal is going to go to Chad Culp.
A real nice shot by Chad Culp. The problem there, Buffalo collapses on the first pick and roll. Two guys come cross crease to make the slide, leaving Chad Culp all alone on the backside. He's got plenty of time and beats Mikey Thompson to the short side.
So Culp gets the goal for the Minnesota Swarm. And Culp, just another perfect example of the very hard-working effort that Minnesota roster has turned in for the regular season campaign. Chad Culp with 13 goals during the regular season. Buffalo with an opportunity. Stainhouse couldn't get a full shot away with it. He's working with Bucktooth from the far side. Now Stainhouse from the left point works it into the corner over to Dan Teat. Teat with the ball. Now Corey Bomberry, top of the slot, taking a shot. That goes wide of Patterson, and Bomberry blasts one against the glass. Bouncing ball brought back out by Minnesota to midfield. And its record in the first quarter of play, or for the game that is, when the opponent scores first during the regular season, 2-5. Lead pass. Here's Sanderson involved with the play now. He got whacked into the face. No call. Sanderson brings it back out to midfield. The full transition happening now for Buffalo on the offense. Jason Crosby comes in over the line, getting some good picks from their teammate. There's a lead pass along the way to McCready. He couldn't get the shot away. Crease violation on McCready, so Minnesota comes out of their own zone unscathed and leading this game 1-0.
Yeah, so far it seems as Minnesota has come out. They've been a little bit more aggressive. I think Buffalo's still just trying to feel their way again. They got their 5 starters back in the lineup that didn't play against Rochester, maybe just getting those bus legs. Both teams feeling each other out. It's a 1-0 score, but goals are going to come often and plenty, John. I'm feeling it.
Buffalo making a change as the ball comes back out to midfield. Working the ball over across the line is John Tavares. Tavares getting an opening, taking the shot, and it's picked off by Patterson. And he makes the outlet pass down the left wing lane, and Minnesota comes back out to midfield. Led along the way by Mike Kilby. He'll wait for that front door completion and then dish the ball off at midfield. And now here comes Ryan Ward, the leading scorer of the Minnesota Swarm with 23 goals. And Ward gets a shot away. He scores! Ryan Ward, 2-0 Minnesota.
And Buffalo gets caught ball watching a little bit. Ryan Ward just slips his seam, gets a real quick pass. Has about a second or two to think about what he's going to do, and boom, buries it over the right shoulder of Mikey Thompson. He's left all alone. A great cut by Ryan Ward and a real nice feed, and places it very, very nicely in that top right corner.
So Ryan Ward, the leading scorer, with 75 regular season points, again off 23 goals, nets his first playoff goal to give Minnesota now a 2-0 lead. Chad Cope, the other goal scorer. Buffalo right away, back down into Minnesota territory. Shot wide by Dosty. Rebound is picked up by Minnesota. Ryan Sharp brings it in over the line by himself. Powers his way in front of Thompson. Now behind the Buffalo net. Into the far corner he goes. Chris White after him, but there's Sharp with a shot that goes wide. Rebound is picked up by Ryan Cousins. Cousins with the backhand. He scores!
Oh, and that's just a complete hustle, aggressiveness play. Ryan Cousins, one of the leaders of this Minnesota Swarm, picks up a loose ball, laps the whole crease, comes out unscathed, and throws a behind-the-back shuffle shot that beats Thompson to the short side.
So 3-0. 3 goals on 4 shots in this game for Minnesota, and they're just showing the style of which that put them into the playoffs, finishing the regular season with a 9-7 record, 3rd place overall in the Eastern Division. And it's a 3-0 game. And just reviewing the past performance of these Minnesota Swarm leading up to the end of the regular season, they defeated Philadelphia 11-8 and Arizona 16-15. That just on the last weekend of regular season action, so playing very strong. Buffalo still trying to get a solid shot on goal. I think they've only got one, as Patterson has really had no work at all here in the opening 5 minutes of this game. 3-0 Minnesota. Ryan Ward, one of the goal scorers, the leading point tallier for this team. Again, finishing 3rd overall in the Eastern Division, and here comes Minnesota. They score again! 4-0 Minnesota. A shockwave here at HSBC Arena.
Yeah, and these Bandit fans are stunned. Just a great individual effort by, I believe that was Dean Hill. Let me check the number. Beats Richie Kilgore to the short side, slips down the seam. Nobody slides to him and buries one between the legs of Mikey Thompson for a 4-0 Minnesota Swarm lead.
Minnesota from the face-off just after the goal scored. They waste little time to get right back to work in Buffalo territory. Bandits are still trying to figure out where they are. We'll dial down there and say HSBC Arena. And they have yet to get anything going here. Clay Hill will bring it out of the zone for the Bandits. And ball is carried back out by Chris White. Left off by Jason Crosby. Now in over the line. Crosby with McCready working it. Here's McCready point blank. He couldn't get the shot away. Patterson intercepts. And the ball is outletted by Minnesota. With little or no forechecking, as Minnesota hasn't a problem at all coming back out to midfield. They lead this game 4-0. And Minnesota again with the ball in front of Buffalo's zone, just to the side of Thompson. Now works it back outside, and it's Hill. Hill works it over to Ryan Ward. Dean Hill, a great season. There's a shot by Stewart that's stopped by Thompson. And the bouncing ball will be frozen by Thompson. And maybe with this official timeout here at HSBC, Kilgore can get everybody over to the bench to say, hey, this is a real game. 4-0 Minnesota this afternoon on WWKB 1520.
Wow.
Boy, oh boy.
Good Lord.
This is how we played against Seattle. Yeah, nice.
Wow. Nothing. Ward, get this, along with Sean Pollock, two respective coaches of high school teams that were battling for the championship back in Minnesota. Ryan Ward's team faced Sean Pollock's team yesterday in Minnesota for the high school championship game of lacrosse. So everybody's been busy, and the Minnesota Swarm are doing it today to the Buffalo Bandits here in the early goings by building a 4-0 lead. Buffalo with a chance now as Tavares' shot goes way wide. Hits along the high glass, and the rebound jumps into the far corner, and that's picked up by Minnesota. Bouncing ball, however, intercepted by Buffalo and shot wide by Teat. Rebound to the near side as Tavares. He breaks free. That was a nifty move, but Tavares still hanging on to that ball. Takes the shot, and Patterson scissors up the ball between his legs as Tavares got a good effort shot on that one. So trying to get it piece by piece here this afternoon for the Buffalo Bandits, and Tavares really showing the first display of offense.
Yes, certainly. You know, Buffalo just needs to calm down, not panic, just chip away. It's only a 4-0 lead. There's a lot of time, obviously, rolling the first quarter, but they got to start picking up the ground balls. The Swarm are leading in the ground ball, loose ball category, I believe 11-4 right now. 9 different Minnesota Swarm players have points already.
There's the background noise that everybody's familiar with, and Pat McCready fires the ball just to the left side, low side of Patterson, and that goose egg comes off the scoreboard here at HSBC Arena, and something's going for the Buffalo bench as McCready scores.
Yeah, something's going right. And leave it up to the speedy Patty McCready. Again, he's a fire plug for the Buffalo Bandits, and he's trying to fire up his teammates and this crowd. It's a 4-1 score, a lot of time, no panic, but it's all about the loose balls, the face-offs. They got to get a little bit more into a flow.
Minnesota from the draw, very strong here this afternoon. That's carried over by Travis Hill. He'll be checked along the boards by Patterson along with White. That ball is jarred free, and Philip Sanderson comes up with it, fields wide over to Clay Hill. Hill back to Sanderson, and he'll gallop his way down outside the line, setting the ball up. Shot, score! Palace!
And that's the Buffalo Bandit transition, John. Buffalo getting out the front door a little bit quicker than Minnesota getting out the back door. They get a quick 3-on-2. Sanderson finding Delby Palace. He's got all day. 1 hop step, 2 hop step, 3 hop step, and boom, blows one past the Swarm goaltender over the right shoulder. A 4-2. Minnesota Swarm lead.
Delby Palace with 21 goals during the regular season, netting his first of the playoffs with a beauty to bring Buffalo within 2 of tying this one up. They were in a state of shock just at the timeout, down 4-0, and now Buffalo coming right back on a run of 2. And with control of the ball as Crosby comes over the line to the near side. Top of the slot, Crosby looks to the far side. Here's Paulus again from the left point. Now works back outside the line and will go all the way to midfield. Fire a pass over to Dosty at the right point from the Minnesota line. Dosty looking for an opening, takes a low shot just wide of the Minnesota net. Comes back out in an over back charge.
30 seconds clock now.
And I believe we're going to also have a penalty off ball, and it could be a holding call against Minnesota.
Yeah, it is going to be a holding call, an off ball infraction. Buffalo, the left-handers, Crosby and Dosty, trying to run that pick and roll game.
Minnesota penalty to number 59.
Rick Lum is the crew chief this afternoon. The assistant referee is Bill Fox, and the technical referee is Scott Mallory. And the Buffalo Bandits, who ended the regular season second overall, the best power play, working on their first one here in the postseason. Bomberry to Dosty. Dosty's shot over the shoulder of Patterson. The rebound is picked up by Teat from the left point. Teat field wide over to Dosty. Dosty's got an opening and likes to go to the top of the slot to Bomberry. Bomberry to Dosty. And Teat with a shot. That goes wide. And Teat's play over the glass and into the crowd to the near side. So Patterson will outlet the ball. And Minnesota shorthanded here on this run. They were 51% during the regular season on the penalty kill, and Minnesota shorthanded works it from the top of the slot. There's a shot, save Thompson. He came up big with that shot. Kicked the ball all the way to the far side where Stainhouse is there. 1:13 left in the penalty to Ryan Cousins. That a holding call against Minnesota. Buffalo down by 2. Boy, Minnesota just jumped out to a quick 4-0 lead before Buffalo got on the scoreboard. The most recent to score is Delby Paulus. Pat McCready opening and scoring for Buffalo. Tavares playing catch with Dostie. Now Tavares top of the slot. Working back over to Bonberry. Here's Tavares' shot. It glazes over the shoulder of Patterson all the way out to midfield. Bonberry leaves it back out. Buffalo will redial their attack just outside the line now. Try it again as Dostie and Bonberry set up the play. Here's Dostie. Low shot. Scores! Dostie!
As you mentioned, John, the Buffalo Bandit power play is devastating. You got all kinds of tools. You got to pick your poison with it. This time they let Dostie give him the lane. He gets a hop step. Nobody comes, nobody slides because you got Tavares down low. You got to guard him and blows a low to high over the right shoulder of Patterson. It's a 4-3 ball game. They come quick, Johnny. They come quick.
Coming in pillows here this afternoon. Again, if you just joined us, Minnesota jumping out to a 4-0 lead. Buffalo clawing their way back. It's now 4-3. Our coverage continues this afternoon from HSBC Arena in downtown Buffalo. Right after this timeout. It's more like it.
All right, that's your 116, 117 Bolton. Kevin from
Yep.
Tavares trivia for an autograph.
See how much ice is still out there on the lake? Did you see that? Did you see how much ice is still out there? Randy, look at that.
Wow.
No, you haven't seen it, really. That's still how much ice is still out there.
Wow. Is that ice?
That's ice.
73 degrees right now. It's going to melt. Let's go.
Congratulations, brother. All right, man. I like your fashion look, too. Good look, man.
Troy Bontier, Brendan Tinghouse, Darryl Seymour, and Roger Vise, along with Steve Dietrich, out of the lineup this afternoon here in Buffalo. I would imagine pretty much a carbon copy of what we're going to see if the Bandits move out of this round and into the next round. There's pretty much a playoff lineup here, what we're viewing this afternoon. They're trying to come back after being down 4-0, and they're doing a nice job of it. Got a power play goal to bring them within 1. Dostie works the ball, tried to get it over to Bonberry, but that goes all the way over to the far boards where Tavares is there. Now we'll get an over back charge on Buffalo, and they'll have to figure it out from there. It'll be Minnesota's ball out at midfield and a chance to attack onto Thompson. Boy, it started in a wave at the 2:44 mark with Culp, 4:39 with Ward, and at 5:12 with Cousins, and 6:02 with Dean Hill before the wake-up call came. Buffalo responding with McCready, Paulus, and Dostie. And now Minnesota with the ball from behind the Buffalo net, working it with ease. Out over to the right point, forced outside the line. Into the line they come, along the way for John Sullivan into the play. Shot straight on, and Thompson right in on the game, no problem. His outlet ball over to Pat McCready. McCready turning on the speed. He's got Laverty with him. Here's Laverty. Laverty taking the shot. Trying to do a little dipsy-doodly, and Patterson makes the save, but Laverty gets his own rebound. Nice move by Kyle Laverty. Dialing the ball back out to midfield to Crosby. A shift change into effect for Buffalo. And the forwards come out from the front door. Down by 1, it's 4-3 Minnesota. First quarter action, 2:55 remaining. Paulus field wide over to Tavares with a shot, and Patterson making a gut save. So Nick Patterson from British Columbia turning in a performance. 11.43 goals against average during the regular season. Right there in the middle of standings for the goaltenders of the National Lacrosse League. He was the busy one between the pipes this year. There's Minnesota with a shot straight on. Thompson reads that one. Rebound is picked up by Stainhouse. Mark Stainhouse turning on the speed down the right wing lane. In over the Minnesota line, Stainhouse works the ball for the near side. Got an opening, takes the shot, bounces in front, but good defensive play by Minnesota, forcing that ball along the line.
Yeah, Mark Stainhouse.
Ross.
Yeah, undressed him. Little stutter step. Stainhouse able to get around, but Ross able to recover, takes the angle. And Stainhouse not able to get a very good shot off. But something that I've liked over the last 5 minutes, John, is Buffalo's getting after the loose balls. Possession's key. You got to battle for the loose balls. And they're starting to get their fill. That loose ball domination, that first 5 minutes, is not there anymore. And it all starts with the Buffalo defense and guys like Patty McCready.
McCready doing it right now for Buffalo, bringing the ball out of his own zone and across the Minnesota line. McCready to the near side, reverses position. Lead pass along the way to Teat. Couldn't get there quite in time. And Ryan Sharp is there for Minnesota. 1:33 left to play here in this first quarter. Minnesota leading it by a score of 4-3. They jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Buffalo coming back with goals by McCready, Palace, and Dostie. Now Minnesota just in over the line to the near side, working the ball to Sean Pollock. Pollock field wide. Over to Sean Hill. Nice nifty move by Minnesota. Shot hit the goalpost right side of Thompson. Now that was a hard shot by Dean Hill.
Just the ladies, let's go, Bandits.
Buffalo bringing the ball back out to midfield. Chris White is there. Under a minute to play to this first quarter. Working the ball over the line is John Tavares. Tavares from the right point, directing traffic. Now forced down into the near corner. Top of the slot over to Breck Buttooth. Buttooth with a shot. Left side of Patterson. Rebound jumps all the way out to the line, and it's Paulus. Paulus to Tavares. Tavares working over the line. His low shot stopped by Patterson. Rebound over the shoulder, shot by Bucktooth. Goes wide. Buffalo spraying shots now. Dusty scores! Bandits!
And again, John, it comes back to the loose ball effort and getting second, third, fourth chances. Johnny Tavares takes the original, beats the 30-second shot clock. They get the rebound. Goes off the boards. Tavares goes up for it. Gets clobbered to the floor, but able to bang the ball over to Dostie. He picks it up and all alone beating Nicky Patterson over that right shoulder again. It's a 4-4 ball game.
So Dostie, who was hot last weekend, remains hot this weekend. Well, he fired 9 points last weekend in both Friday and Saturday night's performance. So Kevin Dostie helping out. And in the closing seconds, Minnesota adds the extra attacker as Patterson goes to the bench. As the ball comes down into Buffalo territory. Sean Pollock from the near side. Trying to get the call away, but... And then finally Minnesota makes a timeout call with 9.5 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. The score 4-4. So Dwayne Jacobs calling his troops over to the Minnesota bench. And Buffalo, along with Darius Kilgore, we can see some pretty animated talking going on with Troy Cordingley and Darius Kilgore to Buffalo's defense.
Well, they're trying to fire up, obviously, their players. But at the same time, they don't want their guys to panic. It's a 4-4 ball game. They're going to set this up. This was a really nice timeout that Minnesota took. Reason being, there was a delayed penalty going on. You got 9.5 seconds left. They call a timeout. That means play's going to stop. The Buffalo's penalty guy, which is Chris White, who gets the infraction, he's got to leave the field. So now it's just that 5-on-4, still have the man advantage as opposed to that 6-on-5, and get Nicky Patterson back in the net.
See if Minnesota can get the last shot. 3 seconds left. Top of the slot. There's Ryan Ward. Goes wide. And the first quarter will end 4-4. Our coverage continues after this timeout this afternoon on WWKB 1520.
Minnesota 13, Buffalo 11. Let's go back to the floor, your Buffalo Bandits.
Lord.
They winning?
Like this, we don't have a monitor. There's no monitor.
No. You know what isn't fair? Let me make my binoculars. Hey, look, it's the beat, Wally.
I think they are probably the best in the business.
Yeah, I like
Where are you?
better than the Joe.
At least they've been working out. First quarter is over here at HSBC Arena with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. Minnesota taking a 4-0 lead right out of the gate. By the 6:02 mark of the first quarter, it was 4-0. Buffalo finally getting on a roll with a 4-goal run. Pat McCready, Delby Palace, Kevin Dostie now with 2. And we end the first frame 4-4. Shots on goal 13-11, favoring Minnesota.
Yeah, and I don't know statistically if this is a very good deal. Buffalo tied after the first quarter. They're 0-2 on the season. Hopefully they don't go. Hopefully that statistic doesn't follow them through. But you know what? I think Buffalo just got shell-shocked. I don't think that they were prepared and ready for the aggressiveness and the speed of the Minnesota Swarm, and the Swarm jumped on them. And it took about 5 or 6 minutes, a couple of TV breaks, some talking by the coaching staff to wake up the Buffalo Bandits. They started getting after the loose balls. They started getting their offensive opportunities. Mikey Thompson's played pretty legit the last 10 minutes, and Buffalo's back in this game.
We're back underway in the second quarter of play now. Thompson will be to our broadcast right, Patterson to our broadcast left. Minnesota, like they've been doing all game long, immediately down into Buffalo territory and setting up the play. Top of the slot, working it. Yeah, very nicely is Ryan Ward over the shoulder. Low shot. Thompson with the save. Rebound. McCready is there with a loose ball and flips it over to the captain of the Buffalo Bandits, Richie Kilgore. He's got 21 playoff games under his belt. Leading the way is the veteran, along with John Tavares. 2 top veterans in playoffs for the Buffalo Bandits. And Tavares along with Dan Teat. Tavares has got the ball, leaves it into the corner to Kevin Dostie. Dostie working it by himself, trying to thread the needle of 2 Minnesota defenders. Now 3 will leave it into the corner as the 30-second clock expires on Buffalo. Penalty called on to Buffalo in the first quarter, just in the closing minutes. White, so there's 43 seconds left on that one. So Minnesota working with their man advantage now here in the opening minutes of this second quarter. Taking the shot, Thompson coming up with a save. Rebound is Pollock from the far side as Minnesota sets up the power play. Travis Hill works it near to the near side by Spencer Martin. Dean Hill tried to get a shot, but it was intercepted by Clay Hill. And Hill brings it out to midfield, making a nice transition. Along the way is Tavares, shorthanded. 15 seconds left in the penalty to Chris White. 4-4 the score here in the second quarter of play, as Buffalo now works the ball to wait before they get back to full strength. And White, fresh out of the box now, working the ball to the far side. Bouncing ball, one-arm shot by Crosby at the 30-second clock, and Minnesota comes out.
Nice way to start this second quarter. Buffalo killing off the power play. Swarm getting 3 shots, but Mikey Thompson standing up tall and getting out on the high arc and making very, very key saves to keep Buffalo tied after that power play.
Minnesota doing their traditional swarm down in the Buffalo zone to the far side. Ryan Ward breaking free, trying to feed it over to Dean Hill, but good defense by Kyle Laverty, finding the ball over to Chris White. So Buffalo brings it across the line, led by Buffalo's defense, and Chris White. He'll hold up and wait for the front door to open up for the Buffalo bench, and out runs Brett Bucktooth, who gets the ball from White. Bucktooth now scoots along the near boards. At the line, fires it over to Delby Palace. Palace far side, over to Tavares. Tavares working it from the far corner. Uses the turf to get it in and out of his stick. Now over to Dan Teat. Teat over to Bucktooth. Bucktooth shot just to the left side of the Minnesota net. Rebound along the line, but the 30-second clock expires on Buffalo, so Minnesota comes out of their own zone with 12 minutes and 3 seconds left to play here in this second period. Score is tied at 4. Minnesota jumped out to a 4-0 lead before Buffalo woke up and tied it at 4. Kevin Dostie with a couple of goals. There's a shot straight on by Pollock. That's over the shoulder of Thompson. Rebound as Stainhouse out to midfield. Stainhouse now turning on the speed with the shot. Bounces in front of Patterson. Stainhouse couldn't get the full shot away, and Patterson with a nice outlet pass immediately along the way. Shot saved by Thompson. Yeah, Spencer Martin got a feed, but then there's a shot and a goal by Minnesota, and they're back with the lead. Second effort by Minnesota.
That's going to be Ryan Cousins getting the second chance off the initial stop by Mikey Thompson. And that's just the Minnesota Swarm beating Buffalo back to the Swarm offensive end. There was nobody there to pick up. Ryan Cousins, both defenders from Buffalo, Corey Bomberry and Patty McCready, go to the person bringing the ball in. They forget about Ryan Cousins and puts it over the right shoulder of Mikey Thompson.
So Ryan Cousins, who netted 23 points during the regular season, complimentary to the style of play again for Minnesota, combines as a part of the goal-scoring spree here by Minnesota today. Buffalo trying to get back into this game and tying it up. Tavares is held up, and Minnesota breaks up that play and brings it back out to midfield. In over the line comes Ryan Sharp. Top of the slot, we go to Ross. Ross with a shot. He scores!
And that's the Minnesota Swarm transition, just like we had talked about. They beat Buffalo through the transition, through the midfield. They get the 3-on-2, and Ross, a real nice dipsy doodle move, gets up underneath, looks like he's going to go short side, and then throws a twister between the legs of Mikey Thompson. A real nice goal, and it's a 6-4 Minnesota Swarm lead.
So they're coming in packs here today, folks, as Minnesota again jumped out to the 4-0 lead. Buffalo tied it up at 4, but now Minnesota's coming back with a surge. They take a shot right on goal, but it's blocked by Kyle Cooling, and the ball comes back out to midfield. And will it be an over and back? No. And Minnesota comes back across the line again, and they'll try it from the far side. Spencer Martin goes field wide. Now it's worked over to the side for Stewart. He couldn't hang on to it, but he's backed up. Low shot. Save. Thompson. Rebound. Thompson with another splitting save. But again, the Swarm coming up big and controlling the ball from the rebounds. Swarm passing the ball to Dees. Dean Hill now works it back to the far side. That's intercepted by McCready, and McCready picks it up to down the right wing lane. He's got Chris White and Stainhouse. Here's Stainhouse with the ball, and that's a save by Patterson. And right away, Minnesota comes right back into Buffalo's zone. Shot by Hill. He fanned on it, and it's picked up by Buffalo. Cleared back out. Good transition. Here's a break for Cosby. Scores! Crosby!
And that's the game of lacrosse. Sometimes the bounces just go your way. It's end-to-end action. And Kilgore picking up a loose ball, wisely noting that Crosby's going to be coming out the front door because the play kept on going back and forth. Feeds a nice feed, Crosby, and all alone, almost gets caught from behind and does the diving sidearm shot past Patterson low to bring the Bandits back within 1.
Crosby winning the draw after that face-off. So doing a nice job here this afternoon. Trying to get his team back into this game. Here's Bucktooth with a shot. Oh! Patterson made the save, and it was bouncing to a goal line, but Patterson was there to scoop it up with his stick and get it back out to midfield. Good hard shot by Bucktooth, and Patterson making the initial save. And now Minnesota right back into Buffalo territory. Chad Cope from outside. Now to the near side over to Stewart. Stewart to the far side to Spencer Martin. He'll work it from the top of the slot. Saved by Thompson. Rebound is Sean Pollock. Pollock will get it from the point. Field wide over to Cope. Cope goes to the near side now. Over to Dean Hill. Hill fires it to the far side. Ryan Ward is there. Works it back over to Cope. Cope working the play back to the far side over to Sean Pollock. Sean Pollock gets an opening, takes a shot right in on Thompson. He reads the play perfectly, and Pollock there stopped inside the line. A little pushing and shoving erupts here at the official timeout. 6-5 Minnesota with 8:38 remaining in the second. Our coverage continues this afternoon on KB Radio. Look at Dewey.
Not many here, but they are loud.
Dewey. Trying to get these guys going. This is lethargic.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're trying everything here at the ground level at HSBC Arena. The respective coaches, Jacobs, Kilgore, they're jawing back together. The hot water's on, down on the floor, trying to shake the glass, rattle the benches, ruffle the turf. There's a lot of things going on at the commercial timeout here. A lot of jawing going on with respective players pushing and shoving, and then the coaches got in the middle of it. They're just trying to stir things up, wouldn't you say, Mernsey?
Well, it's stirring it up. I mean,
what's going on here?
This is playoff time. Friendship should just leave at the door. I mean, obviously, they played together. Coach Dewey Jacobs, Darius Kilgore, they've been teammates, they've been line mates. But at the end of the day, it's playoff time. Dewey's for the Swarm, Darius is for the Bandits, and you know what? Fire it all up. If you think your team's getting a little bit of a shaft or things are going to get physical, it's all about being part of the team. Friendships, you can deal with that on Wednesday.
See what happens here with Buffalo with control of the ball, working it down into Minnesota territory. Dan Teat to the far side, over to Kevin Dostie, back over to Teat. Teat tries it from the near side. He's got to push it back into the corner. He goes to Bomberry. Bomberry couldn't read it. He's checked up along the play, and the ball is jarred free and worked back out to midfield. It's brought out by Ryan Sharp from Minnesota right to the Buffalo line. Very quickly, Minnesota taking a shot on goal, and Thompson coming up with a save. Thompson making the outlet pass out to midfield over to Chris White. 6-5 Minnesota here in the second quarter with 8 minutes to play. And again, to the both coaches behind the benches trying to stir things up here to get these teams riled up, and specifically for Buffalo. Down once, 4-0. There's Teat with a shot. He scores! What a Teat! Dan Teat!
And a nice double screen by Brett Bucktooth and Delby Palace, springing Danny Teat and giving him that shooting space. Teat shooting through 3 or 4 players, beating Patterson to the far side to tie this game up 6-6.
So Dan Teat, who netted 20 goals during the regular season, and has got 5 playoff goals with Buffalo. That's his first playoff goal, and something that Dan Teat wants to keep in the back of his mind of scoring consistent goals. He's been a little snake bit in the last couple of games, so that's going to feel good for Dan Teat to find the net and to tie this game at 6. Here's Pellis with a shot. That blasts wide. Rebound, Buffalo. Shot right on for Tavares. And Patterson peeled it aside, but still Buffalo's ball as it hit the netting, so Teat works it back outside to Bomberry. Bomberry from the middle, now works it over from the right point, takes the shot, and Patterson got a piece of that one. Bent his stick, I'm sure, from that blast. Teat gets the rebound, works it back over, a low shot by Dostie, and Patterson kicks it all the way back out to midfield. And that goes all the way into the Buffalo corner to the near side. Tavares brings it out from the corner and leaves it to Thompson, who outlets the ball out to midfield. And it's picked up by Dan Teat. 6-6 the score with 6:40 remaining here in this second period. Corey Bomberry field wide over to a fresh Jason Crosby from the bench. Crosby with a shot straight on, and Patterson coming up with a big save. Makes the outlet pass out to midfield, and here comes Minnesota. Working it along the way. Minnesota's John Sullivan slips up, hangs on to the ball. Chris White after him, and Sullivan dials it down over to Dean Hill. Hill fires it back outside the line to the far side over to Sean Pollock. Pollock works it up back over to Brian Ward. Ward doing some nifty deking from the left point as Minnesota gets themselves into position. There's a shot straight on, but a save by Thompson right at the goal line. And that one, a good fire by John Sullivan. 6 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. 6-6 the score. Jason Crosby and Dan Teat, the 2 Buffalo Bandits most recently to score. Stainhouse just outside the line. He works it out to the near side. Tries to scoot out in front. Leaves it out in front to Bucktooth. Bucktooth with a shot. Big save by Patterson. Got it on the glove side. Minnesota gets the rebound, and they come back out to midfield.
You got to, that Bucktooth has had a lot of opportunities. He hasn't been able to bury. Another nice pick and roll, him and Stainhouse. Nicky Patterson getting the left shoulder. But the thing that you got to like, though, is he is getting the chances. Sooner or later, he's going to have to bury, but he's getting the chances. If they weren't getting the chances, you might start wanting to panic.
Thompson gets the ball from behind the Buffalo net to the near side over to Kyle Cooling. Cooling feeding it out to front, but intercepted by Minnesota. Ross is there. He works it along the turf. It's tough to handle. And now a stoppage in play with 5:04 remaining, and the on-field official calls it for Minnesota's ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a 10-second violation. Buffalo had possession. They didn't clear it. Looked like it was going to be an easy pickup for the Swarm. They mishandled it. Then there was a loose ball battle, but that 10-second clock still continues to count. The ball's back to the Swarm.
Culp has it outside the line, works it to the far side. They'll try it over to Sharp. Now worked it to the far side over to Ward. Now to Sullivan. There's a shot by Martin that goes wide. Rebound jumps all the way out to Ryan Ward. Ward does some nifty deking, takes the shot, hit the goal post, dribbles over to the right side, and hits the end boards. Sean Pollock got a piece of it, but I think they'll call man in the crease. And that stops things officially with 4:37 left to play to this first half. 6-6 the score. This afternoon, National Lacrosse League playoff action with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. Live on KB Radio. Talk a twist. Way to go, Fleets. Come on, get in the game, would you? We wear these one year. All comes down to numbers, particularly in the playoffs, and looking at here so far in the game, Buffalo winning in faceoffs 9-5. Shots going to Minnesota 24-20. Loose balls, and this must be the character of the game, 28-24, so I would call that game pretty even right at the moment.
Yeah, and that's why Buffalo's been able to get back into this game. They started winning some of the loose balls. They started getting some second and third opportunities by getting to the loose balls after the original shot. Now it's a 6-6 ball game. I think both teams have now settled in. We've gotten down to a good flow. Everybody's felt each other out. Everybody's woken up and got through the breakfast because it's an afternoon game. They're not used to these afternoon games. It's going to be a real battle going forward.
Boy, Minnesota just stunning the Buffalo Bandits 4-0 out of the game. There'll be a penalty coming up here, so it's a delayed call as Thompson goes to the bench. The extra attacker is out. Bomberry fires one. And the rebound picked up by Minnesota, but Buffalo comes back now on the power play at a critical point of this lacrosse game. Tied at 6 with 3:55 remaining in the first half, and Minnesota can't afford to take calls like this.
No, it's going to be a holding call off ball. But here's the kicker, Buffalo 1 for 1 on the power play. This is their real first legitimate opportunity to take their first lead of the game. And within the game of lacrosse, it's about momentum. They've been battling back. They were down 4, tied at 4-4. Minnesota went up 6-4. They tied at 6-6. This is a big, big opportunity for Buffalo to continue that momentum and look from the point of view that, you're up in the game and not down and chasing.
Good rotation now here on this power play, something we haven't seen in a long time for Buffalo on a new power play setup. There's a shot by Dusty, and then Patterson scissors up right at the line. But nice movement after Buffalo staged the setup, and then they started to move in a rotation by moving that ball and then going in for the kill shot. And Patterson coming up strong on the shot by Dosty. Minnesota shorthanded now, working the ball just outside Buffalo's line and taking time off the penalty. That assessed on to Minnesota's John Sullivan on a holding call off ball. Minnesota shorthanded. There's Stewart from the outside getting a couple of bats, and now 3 bats by Buffalo Sticks, and the loose ball picked up by Hill. Hill now to the near side, and Stainhouse will bring it to the Minnesota line as Buffalo's power play goes into position. 55 seconds left in the call to Sullivan. Tied at 6. Stainhouse remains on the power play with Dan Teat. Top of the slot is Delby Palace. Palace works it back over now to Dostie. Into the far corner is Tavares. Tavares with a quick shot, and Patterson reads that one. Tavares gets his own rebound from behind the Minnesota net. John Tavares in front to Teat. He scores! Another treat, Dan Teat.
Dan Teat just posting right up in front of the net. Everybody focuses on Tavares as he's behind the net. All eyes look at him. He hedges, and then just simply tosses the ball to Danny Teat wide open. And Dan Teat makes no mistake. Quick stick, little hedge fake over the right shoulder of Patterson. It's a 7-6 Buffalo Bandit lead.
Like the way that Buffalo's moving the ball on the power play. Different from what they've done in games previous. Anything will help right in a moment, and you're right, Randy Mearns now, Buffalo with the first lead of the game. 7-6 on the power play, now 2 for 2. And Buffalo with the ball with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left here in the first half. Down the left wing lane come the Buffalo Bandits, led by Crosby, who will feed the ball to a fresh Brett Bucktooth from the bench. As the front door remains open, Bucktooth field wide over to Tavares. Tavares has got an open lane, takes the shot. It's high from Patterson. Ball is cleared back out to midfield, and Minnesota brings it outside the line. That's worked by John Sullivan. He's been a busy player today. Sullivan in over the line, now working it along with Dean Hill. Hill works it across the line with Spencer Martin. Top of the slot, we go over to Ryan Ward. He likes that left point. Ward now goes to the far corner, sneaks to the right side of Thompson, over the shoulder, back in front, and a good shot straight on by Minnesota's Sullivan. And Thompson make the saves, but Sullivan's caught for a crease violation.
Yeah, Sullivan, good opportunity. Ryan Ward, their major ball carrier, dipsy doodling, throws it behind the back. Sullivan tippy-toeing the line. Richie Kilgore comes and plows him, forces him into the crease violation.
1:05 left to play into the first half. Buffalo knocking on the front door. It's Dan Teat. Teat, top of the slot over to Tavares with a shot, and Patterson comes up with a splitting save. Rebound along the near side. Confrontation is won by Minnesota, and Ryan Sharp immediately into Buffalo zone. Here's Sharp with a shot. He scores! Ryan Sharp taking the ball away out of his own zone, turning on the speed and coming face-to-face with Mike Thompson. And Sharp, who was acquired from Portland this year, scores to tie the game at 7.
Loose balls. Buffalo looking for that second chance. Couldn't get to the loose ball. Sharp picking it up on the run, beating Buffalo all the way back down the floor, and wastes no time with a high hedge fake and buries it over the right shoulder of Mikey Thompson. This game's tied.
So from the face-off circle at center, these two teams battling. Here in the first half, Minnesota jumping out to the 4-0 lead. Buffalo tying it up at 4. And Minnesota going ahead, and then Buffalo tying it at 5. Then we go to 6-6, and now 7-6, 7-7. We stand here in the closing minute. Stainhouse would like nothing more to find net here and works it from the near side. Stainhouse takes the shot, and Patterson reads it perfectly, making the nice save. Dostie gets the rebound to the far side, and with 16.9 seconds remaining, Buffalo calls timeout with possession.
Oh, that was a great seal by Brett Bucktooth. Bucktooth and Stainhouse running the low pick and roll, and Stainhouse getting underneath, and Brett Bucktooth, he's a big body, seals both guys out. Stainhouse says all day, tries to go far side, but Patterson equal to the task with a toe save. 16.9 seconds left in this second quarter, John. Buffalo's going to probably pull Thompson, go 6-on-5, go for the last shot, take the last shot. They're going to have that man advantage and see if they can get a 1-goal advantage going into halftime.
Coming up at halftime, Steve Dietrich will join us here at the broadcast location. He's recovering from the left knee injury. Spoke with him before this afternoon's game. Said he's feeling okay. Things are coming along just as they expected. And his range of motion is starting to improve, but a I don't think he'll be ready for next week's game should Buffalo win this game this afternoon. So he is press row side and will join us at halftime. We'll talk about what goes on between the pipes and what he sees from the Buffalo Bandits this year. Literally on the field, his view. Boy, he was just playing wonderful lacrosse, too. Here's Buffalo's last chance, taking a shot. Delby Palace makes the save. Outlet comes right to the top. Buffalo intercepts that one. Now Patterson manages to find an Alberta Sullivan, who brings it in over the line by himself, face-to-face in an open net. There's a shot to goal by Minnesota as Tavares tried to play goaltender. And the shot backfires on Buffalo, and Minnesota
those are the ones that
has the 8-7 lead.
Yeah, those are the ones that sometimes as a coach you just kind of shake your head. I don't know if that's designed or not. Patterson making a very good save on Delby Palace, but they shoot with still 14 seconds left. Buffalo doesn't have anybody in the nets. The Swarm come up with the GB, go down the floor. Johnny Tavares is the guy that's playing in the nets. He's got no pads. He's not taking it all up like Mikey Thompson can. And they score basically into an empty net. You pull that tender, you got to go for the last shot. Buffalo going in to halftime now down by a goal as opposed to being up by a goal, or at least having that better opportunity to be up by a goal.
And a collective hush over the crowd here at HSBC Arena. We go to halftime, and it's 8-7 Minnesota as our coverage continues in this playoff confrontation between the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm on WWKB 1520. Where are we?
5, Nate's already struggling. 6, 7, and now Nate, 8, 10, go! Nate, oh, they're both having problems. Jim's trying to
Good
maneuver.
Lord.
Nate's trying to get a ball. Here goes Jim. He's got a ball. And Jim's the winner. Nate just went ball. There goes Nate again buying the far. Cadillac, give a nice round of applause. Nate from Arcane, that winner tonight. Jim from Cheektowaga. Jim's going to score as many goals he can possibly get. And he got them all. Great, that's a new record for Disney 6, by the way. Congratulations to Bandit Land. Get ready for your Bandits coming up in a couple of seconds. Hang out, we have a big second half coming up, Bandit Land.
Yeah.
Introducing the all-new Dodge Nitro. Careful.
Should Buffalo win this game this afternoon, it'll be down the thruway to Rochester on Friday to meet the Rochester Nighthawks. But again, they have their work cut out for them here for the second half against these pesky Minnesota Swarm, who have laid it on the Buffalo Bandits this afternoon by taking a 4-0 lead out of the gate 2:44 officially. Chad Culp opens the scoring. 4:39 Ryan Ward. 5:12 Ryan Cousins. 6:02 is Dean Hill before the goose egg comes off the scoreboard for Pat McCready at 8:11. And then at 8:39 Delby Palace. 10:42 Kevin Dostie turns on the power. And 14:26 he finds net again. Ryan Cousins gives the Minnesota Swarm a 1-goal lead, 5-4. Kyle Ross, 6-4 at the time at 4:07 of the second quarter. 6-5 goes Jason Crosby. Ties it up at 6 with Dan Teat. Teat then gives Buffalo their first lead of the game at 12:29 of the second quarter. Ryan Sharp and John Sullivan follow up. And where we stand right now at halftime, they score 8-7 for Minnesota. Shots on goal right now, 27 for Minnesota, 28 for Buffalo. Not a bad game. Certain areas, and the goals are coming in bunches at the moment. Patterson coming up very strong with 20 saves. Mikey Thompson turning aside 19. But again, just from the first start of the game, Minnesota getting a contribution of full roster of players who are managing to combine for scoring. They score 3 goals on the first 4 shots of the game and put Buffalo right behind the 8 ball here in this playoff game. Single elimination. And again, the winner of this game this afternoon will go down the thruway to play the Rochester Nighthawks on Friday night at the Blue Cross Arena. Upsets abound yesterday in the National Lacrosse League, particularly in the Western Division, where San Jose upsets Colorado, the number 1 seed in the West, 15-14 in overtime. Arizona over Calgary 13-9. So San Jose and Arizona will battle it out for the Western Finals to see who will represent the West going into the championship game. And again, the winner of this afternoon's game here in Buffalo, the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm, will play the Rochester Nighthawks, who are victorious Friday night over Toronto. But where we stand right now is a crucial situation for Buffalo to gain some consistency, particularly from a host of forwards who are able to find net. Kevin Dostie playing exceptional lacrosse recently, and again, that includes the loss last weekend, both losses to the Rochester Nighthawks. He's been playing very strong. John Tavares doing the same, but where Buffalo's really going to need the help is in the depth chart from the forward side of the fence. Dan Teat, who has turned in a 2-goal performance here this afternoon. Have to find more from him. Certainly Mark Stainhouse, experiencing a little bit of a lull in the light shot there in front of the net a couple of times. Has got to get back on scoring track, and really what it takes here in the playoffs is a full complement of players from the roster, especially from the offensive side of the fence, in order to gain position here. And playoff games that generally go to overtime, you won't see a real blowout no matter what. And Minnesota's certainly showing that. They're staying right in this game and doing a fine job at it and holding a 1-goal lead, again by the score of 8-7. Our coverage continues. We're going to take another timeout here at HSBC Arena and prepare for quarter number 3. As you're listening to Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse this afternoon on KB 1520. I need some scotch. Scotch. Down in my belly. I love scotch. He needs some scotch. Scotch. I love scotch. Yep. Well, you can take the full 3, right? Yeah. I thought we were going to have Dietrich, but he never showed up. What? Nope. This is it. And we'll just go right into the third. We'll go right into the third quarter. You're going to do a sports network? It's all sports? Well, that's going to be a financial and economic disaster. That's really neat. What happened to Dietrich?
What?
What happened to Dietrich?
I don't know. Where is he?
Minnesota Swarm with a 1-goal lead over the Buffalo Bandits. 8-7 as we prepare for the third quarter of play. John Gertler along with Randy Mearns, Kyle Sconey, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, our statistician. And Randy, a chance now to go up and down Press Road to find out what the heck's going on here with the Buffalo Bandits. The fact that they're playing okay, but they really haven't displayed the style of lacrosse that, we've known them for in the last couple of 3 or 4 games, notwithstanding what happened in Rochester past week. But the Bandits have really got to catch on here and just try to
I think,
get up and over these Minnesota
I think you're correctly. You're exactly right. You know, right off the get-go, I think that they maybe the nerves, maybe the afternoon, I don't know, Minnesota just got on top of them. Got to all the loose balls. At one point, they were dominating the loose balls 11-2. They were getting second chances. They were running their picks and rolls, and I think Buffalo was just kind of caught off guard a little bit. The good stuff with the coaching staff, settle the guys down, don't panic. Patty McCready gets a transition goal. Dosty scores. They get back into the game. They tie it 4-4. Things are good. They go down 6-4. They battle back. It's a that 6-6 game, 7-7, and then it's just kind of confusing. Now I don't know if that was a setup play. Talking with some of the guys, Eddie Como from Rochester, Sean Ferris, they're here. They're obviously getting the scout. They'll be playing the winner of this. And talking with Tommy Brody, was that a hidden ball trick? Was it actually a cross feed? Because you really want to take that last shot, but sometimes if you do have an open net, that you got to be disciplined not to take it. Make sure you get the last shot. Unfortunately, Delby Powell's doesn't bury. They go down and they get scored on. Now, you know what? That's a momentum changer. Let's see if they can get refocused and regain some momentum. Just saying, hey, let's just put that one out of our head. We took a chance. We rolled the dice. It didn't work out. We're down a goal. That's not that bad. We got 30 minutes. Let's get back to our systems up and down the floor, and let's get the job done.
We're moments away from the opening draw of the third quarter with the Buffalo Bandits and Minnesota Swarm. Our live coverage here at HSBC Arena this afternoon. A beautiful day here in Buffalo, New York. From our vantage point of the Ted Darling Memorial Press Box, there is a port window from outside our broadcast location, and we can look on to Lake Erie. And my gosh, Randy, there's still a lot of ice left there on the big mass of water, but a beautiful spring day outside. But inside, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done for these Buffalo Bandits.
Well, there certainly is, and statistically, Buffalo, they are 2-5 after trailing at half. Again, that statistic does not help them out. Minnesota 7-4 when leading at the halftime, so that's obviously in their favor as well. All these statistics during the season really doesn't really matter, in my opinion, because you know what? You got 30 minutes. You either want it or you don't. At the end of the day, there's no tomorrow for one of these teams. You got to put it all on the floor today.
Fallis has got to do it. He leaves Buffalo across the line inside Minnesota. Dosty with a shot, hits the crossbar behind Patterson, who for the third quarter is to our broadcast right. Thompson is to our broadcast left. Bouncing ball in Minnesota territory. Buffalo scrambles and wins the confrontation. Fallis manages to get it back outside the Minnesota line with Dosty and McCready. A change-up here very quickly as McCready goes to the bench. Out steps John Tavares. So the big line is out for Buffalo, and the bouncing ball, however, intercepted by Patterson as Dosty tried to feed Tavares. Patterson's ball intercepted out at midfield, so Buffalo tries again. Opening minute of play of this third quarter. Minnesota leading it by a score of 8-7. Tavares, nice pass over to Teague with a shot, and Patterson coming up with a nice save, and the rebound picked up by the Swarm and returned back out to midfield. Travis Hill brings it out for Minnesota. Near side over to Ryan Cousins. And leaves it back out to midfield. They save an over and back charge as Ryan Ward completes the change for Minnesota, and Dwayne Jacobs' offensive thrust comes across the line, and that's led by Dean Hill. Dean Hill, who had 46 points improvement from last season, has the ball from the far corner. Now scoots behind the net, Stainhouse checking, and Hill gets it back out to midfield. Opening minute here in the third quarter where Minnesota holds on to a one-goal lead. It's 8-7. Stewart in over the line over to Dean Hill. Hill reverses flow back from the top of the slot. Lead pass along the way. Great defense by Buffalo, and Chris White has it for the Bandits. Bounces it along the turf over to Kyle Laverty, who brings it out for Buffalo. Laverty cradling the ball out at the midfield section of the faceoff circle, and Delby Palace takes over from there. Palace now working on the line with Dan Teat, along with Corey Bomberry and John Tavares. Teat now from the left point over to Bomberry. Bomberry from the left point to Crosby. Crosby with a shot that blasts wide, and the rebound is picked up by Minnesota. Mike Kilby brings it out for Minnesota down the left wing lane. Changes up by throwing the ball over to Ryan Ward, fresh from the Minnesota bench. Ward now with the change, in over the line for Pollock. Pollock with a shot. That hits the side of Thompson. And hang on here, we could have too many men on the field.
Yeah, that's going to be too many men call. Bench violation against Minnesota. Buffalo going to get the opportunity to go back up on the power play. They're 2 for 2 in the first half. And that's just a costly error. As Ryan Cousins actually went off to go change, they sent one, and then the next thing you know, another guy hopped the boards and came out. From the referee standpoint, they weren't really counting, and I think they finally figured out, hey, they got 6 guys out there, and the goaltender's still in the net. Shawnee Pollock, number 17, is going to serve it.
So the power play working excellent this afternoon for the Buffalo Bandits. Chance to tie this game up with a man advantage. Working now is Bomberry from the top of the slot over to Dostie. Dostie and Bomberry set up the play. Looking for an open lane. Dostie couldn't do it. He'll fire it back over to Bomberry. Bomberry, lead pass along the way over to Dan Teat. That play is busted up by Minnesota and carried out to midfield. Good heads up checking by Buffalo. Throws off Minnesota, but they manage to put it down into Buffalo territory, and now Buffalo will counter again with a man advantage. 1:24 left and too many men on the field charge to Minnesota. They lead this game 8-7. Corey Bomberry, the quarterback of the power play, to Delby Palace. Back to Bomberry with a shot, and Patterson comes up with a big save. Digs that one out of his padding and leads it with an outlet pass to midfield. And John Sullivan will take it from there. And the penalty-killing team comes out onto the floor here at HSBC Arena. The Swarm leading at 8-7. Buffalo on their third power play. They stand 2 for 2 into this game. Top of the slot is Ryan Ward with a shot, and Thompson comes up big with the save. The rebound as he makes the outlet pass over to Stainhouse. Now Buffalo's front door opens up, and the power play back out on the turf again as Palace brings the troops across the line along with Tavares and Teat, Dostie and Bomberry. Dostie over the line, deep into the near corner to Tavares, back to Dostie. Now to Bomberry. Bomberry to Dostie. Dostie, lead pass along the way over to Palace, intended for, and it bounces along the boards and comes all the way back. Over and back charge on Buffalo. Out to midfield it goes.
And it looks like Buffalo's going to go 2 for 3 on the power play. 19 seconds left, and Pollock's penalty, the bench minor for too many men. The Swarm are going to be able to kill the next 17 seconds and get back to even strength.
Didn't we run into this situation last year when the Bandits and Minnesota Swarm played each other? Even though the Bandits finishing first overall in the Eastern Division last year, but Minnesota played Buffalo very close all the way through the game, and Buffalo managing to get out with that 11-10 victory. But here, right at the moment, Minnesota has the 1-goal lead, 8-7. Hill tries to counter now, brings it along the line. There's a shot by Bucktooth. He scores! Brett Bucktooth.
Johnny, great individual effort by Brett Bucktooth, tying this score up. I didn't think Clay Hill was going to feed him the ball. He was already past his the good angle because he's a righty coming over that righty loop. But Hill dumps it to him, and Bucktooth twists and wraps around his body and throws it to the far side of Nicky Patterson to tie this game. A big, big goal. Like I said, Johnny, that's probably his 4th scoring chance. The other 3, close, close, close. It's tough to keep goal scorers off the score sheet when they keep on getting opportunities. Another good opportunity. This game's tied.
Brett Bucktooth on the scoreboard here in the second half to tie this game at 8. Bucktooth, who had 12 goals during the regular season, helping out, and Buffalo coming up with another fire shot on to Patterson, who kicks it back out to midfield. Tavares scrambling for it, freezes the ball up along the boards, and we've got an official timeout here at HSBC Arena. 9:38 left here in this third frame. 8-8 the score this afternoon, live on the 50,000-watt WWKB 1520. It's your fault.
man. Let's see how much love is in Bandit land tonight. Got a lot to celebrate. Give me a lot of love. You see your face on the Jumbotron. Lay one on that person next to you, like you two. No, don't wave at the camera. Kiss the guy next to you. The guy, kiss him. There you go. Nice. Don't follow instructions while apparently. All right, you two, go shake your head.
Turn the light off if we can come up.
They're not leaving together either. How about you two?
How much time?
Wow.
Huh?
Wow. There you go. Okay. You two, come on. What the heck is wrong with you people? Kiss him. Jeez. How much fun is it, man?
Following up with activity in the National Lacrosse League at the end of the regular season, John Grant winning the goal and point title of this year. His outstanding performance with the Rochester Nighthawks. We saw him in action in the two-game series last week, so he claims that. John Tavares claiming the number of assists. We'll go down the list as the game progresses here in Buffalo, but we want to stay what's going on to the turf as we've got a tie lacrosse game here in the third quarter of play. 8-8 the score. Buffalo with the ball in over the line is Bomberry. Lead pass along to Dosty with a shot, and Patterson comes up large with a save. Point-blank shot by Kevin Dosty.
I think that's his fourth post of the game. I mean, he's a guy that can just pick corners, and he's just off by about an inch this whole first half and a little bit in this third quarter. Like, he's just off because he's getting the opportunities. He's just hitting pipe.
Sean Pollock brings the ball into the far corner. Dean Hill is there, deking away from Richie Kilgore. Now Laverty gets into the way as well as Billy D. Smith. The bouncing ball comes in front of the Buffalo net. It goes behind it now, and Minnesota comes up with it. 30-second clock violation on Minnesota. Now Kyle Laverty and one of the Minnesota players get into a little pushing and shove match in front of the Buffalo net. Nothing erupts from there, and Buffalo brings it back out to midfield. 8-8 the score. Third quarter action. Stainhouse dishes the ball over to John Tavares, along with Stainhouse in over the line. Now Stainhouse back to Tavares. Tavares with a shot, and Patterson got a shoulder on that one. I don't think he saw the initial fire by Tavares. But Patterson just in the way of that ball. Kind of waking him up, and manages to get the outlet pass over to Sharp. End of the line comes Minnesota. Ryan along with Stewart. Now Stewart outside the line over to Dean Hill. Hill to the far side. Good defense by Buffalo. However, the loose ball is picked up by Sharp backing up. Top of the slot comes Minnesota. Ryan Cope is there. He gets a cross check from Cooling. Low shot wide of the Buffalo net, and the rebound is picked up by Clay Hill. Good ball by Clay Hill, and finding it open, Pat McCready. McCready in over the line, along with Clay Hill blocking for McCready. Here's McCready's shot.
Illegal pick.
And hang on, we got a pick situation for Minnesota. And then after that, McCready is put down to the ground. And we'll see if there's a call on the Minnesota for that antic by one of the Minnesota players. And yes, that's a perfect way to take a penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be Travis Hill going to go to the box. Originally thought there might be a 2-minute elbow on Clay Hill on the pick and roll with Patty McCready. That actually was it ended up being just called a possession. The ball was going to go back to Minnesota. And Travis Hill going after Patty McCready, takes him to the ground. McCready trying to get back up, takes him to the ground again. I think the second one was a little bit more of a dive than the first. But nonetheless, McCready drawing the penalty.
Drawing the penalty, that's right. Taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team. And then just so eloquently just runs over to the bench. Okay, I did my job. Buffalo going to go on the power play. Hopefully they can get a little bit more movement like they did in the first half. That last man up was kind of stagnant. Guys were still standing. They didn't really get a lot of scoring opportunities.
Travis Hill from Lewiston, New York, sits into the penalty box, and the power play, well, let's negate that. Hang on now. What do we got here?
Well,
McCready.
I guess it's going to be even strength. I thought they were going on the power play.
Penalty to number 10, Pat McCready, 2 minutes for that sportsmanlike conduct. McCready.
One too many words maybe after that hit by Travis Hill. So what apparently was going to be a power play now turns into a 4-on-4.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's not actually Minnesota's ball, because they were supposed to get the ball before anything really happened. Dosty's got it in his stick. Well, it's going to be a 4-on-4 situation. You know, sometimes there's going to be calls. You just got to battle through it. Play with, sometimes it's just whatever it is. You just got to play through it. So now it's going to be 4-on-4. A lot of room out there for the goal scorers.
See if Buffalo can handle this. They've got the sticks. There's a shot by Paulus that goes wide. Rebound is collected by Paulus outside the line. Now field wide over to Tavares. Top of the slot, Tavares coming in. He's double teamed down to the turf, and the loose ball taken away from him and picked up by Minnesota. And comes right back down into Buffalo territory as Sullivan leads the charge along with Ryan Ward. Ward now across the line to the near side. Working it away from Lavalley. Here's Ward. Now forced to the right side of Thompson. Scoots back outside. Give and go. Shot. Saved by Thompson. There's a running and flying in Minnesota Swarm player. Took the shot. But Thompson comes up strong with the save, and the rebound cleared out by Buffalo. 4-on-4 for the next minute and 5 seconds. 8-8 the score, third quarter action. Buffalo in over the line as Stainhouse works it from the top of the slot. Over the shoulder pass over to Tavares with a shot. He scores! JT!
Great pass by Stainhouse, throwing the behind the back. Tavares just slips his defender. Defender looks at Stainhouse, gets the back door on him. Nice feed. And Tavares doing the left-handed twist, going short side, down low on Nicky Patterson to regain the Buffalo Bandit lead. It's a 9-8 ball game.
So finally the Buffalo Bandits back with the lead here in this game. Remember, it's single elimination. The winner of this game will play the Rochester Nighthawks Friday night down in Rochester. And Minnesota, who jumped out of this game this afternoon with a 4-0 lead, saw that evaporate to 4-4. Then we went to 6-6. Now then, Buffalo has battled back to take the 9-8 lead. In over the line comes Buffalo, along with Delby Paulus and Kevin Dostie. Dan Teat is out there along with Buck Toot. Teat shot straight on. Patterson comes up with a save and makes the outlet pass along the side over to Ross. Ross brings it down for Minnesota. And Minnesota sets up play. Stewart to the far side. In over the line comes Dean Hill. Hill hit by Billy D. Smith, but managed to get into pass over to Cope. Cope's shot is blocked by Buffalo's defense. And the loose ball is picked up by Chris White. Fires it over to Billy D. Smith. Smith now. Right wing pass over to McCready. McCready just outside the Minnesota line. Will hang on to the ball and wait for the forward change up by Buffalo. Tavares steps out along with Crosby. Crosby checking along the way, allowing to Tavares, works the ball back to Crosby into the near corner. From the turf comes Crosby. Here's Crosby now, firing it out in front. Tavares with a shot, that goes wide. Oh, did Tavares wind up on that one? And the loose ball is cleared out by Minnesota. Travis Hill with a shot. That goes wide of the Buffalo net. Rebound comes all the way back out to midfield. Stainhouse checking along the way to Ryan Sharp. But the ball is smothered and the play is stopped. 4:56 remaining here in the third quarter. 9-8 Buffalo this afternoon on KB 1520.
KB Radio 1520 AM. The official radio home of the Buffalo Bandits student is John Gurley and Randy Maris, bringing you all the excitement. There we are. Buffalo Bandits.
John Gurley, Randy Mertz. Randy Mertz. John Gurley, Randy Mertz. What, B2 didn't want us today or what?
Nobody wants.
What about our needs, man?
We got nothing. We got nothing, Johnny. We got nothing. Mikey,
We got Kyle.
we got Kyle.
We got Fleets.
We got Scott. We're loving it. Get some McDonald's. I'm loving it.
What do they want? They want the arena announcer?
I got a picture taken by.
What are we, Bad Pizza?
Yeah, we got. What are we, stale donuts? Thank you.
Jeepers.
One more time, quick. What's he got? What's he got?
John Grant wins the overall point race in the National Lacrosse League this year with 111. John Tavares with 61 assists. Loose ball title goes to Brody Merrill with 196 this year. Penalty minutes, Scott Ditzel with 68. Power play goals, Roski from San Jose with 18. How about San Jose over Colorado last night?
Oh yeah, Colorado during the beginning and midway of the season were the odds-on favorite. They're the defending champs, and they're out of the playoffs. A 15-14 victory by San Jose. I guess dealing for Colin Doyle wasn't a bad idea.
Came up large so far here in the playoffs for San Jose. 9-8 to score. Buffalo here in the third quarter, 4:24 remaining. 9,003 the official attendance here at HSBC Arena. They were expecting a light crowd out of the gate here. A Sunday afternoon crowd, very difficult. And the fact that it's been the second sunny day of the year.
Yeah, everybody's outside
That's a beauty. Into the line comes Kevin Dostie. Dostie hanging on to the ball. Goes field wide now to a fresh Corey Bomberry. Bomberry over to Palace. Palace to Tavares. Tavares outside the line from the top of the slot looking for an opening. Has a host of players to feed it to, which he does to Palace. Palace to Teat in the corner. Teat with a long shot straight on along with Bomberry. And Patterson comes up large with that one. And Minnesota comes out to midfield. Buffalo leading it 9-8. The go-ahead goal, John Tavares. That being scored at the 8:24 mark of the third quarter. Minnesota now mounting the attack. Dean Hill from the far side. Top of the slot to Martin with a shot. Thompson with a big save. Martin gets his own rebound. Fires it out in front. And that loose ball is picked up by Laverty. He works it along the turf. And finally puts it into the webbing of his stick and gets it out to midfield. To an open Pat McCready. McCready, who is the first Buffalo Bandit to score here this afternoon, has got the ball from the top of the slot. In over the shoulder to Crosby. Crosby with a shot. And Patterson comes up with a fine kick save. Rebound to Ross to the far side, and Ross makes a nice move and brings it out to midfield for Minnesota. 2:55 remaining here in this third quarter. Buffalo leading it 9-8. The winner of this game this afternoon will meet Rochester Friday night down at Blue Cross Arena. Sullivan for Minnesota. Over to Spencer Martin. Martin from the corner. Lead pass over to Pollock with a shot over the shoulder. And Thompson reads that one beautifully.
Thompson having a great third quarter. Minnesota's throwing 7 shots at Thompson, but Thompson's been equal to the task. They have not penetrated and got anything over the goal line. Attribute a little bit to the Buffalo Bandit defense. Billy D. Smith, Richie Kilgore, the Laverty, White doing a fantastic job keeping Minnesota way out. They're not getting the chances they did in that first half.
Bucktooth to Bomberry. Bomberry top of the slot looking for an open lane. He's got one. Takes the shot and Patterson makes another save. Blows the dent out of his right pads there. Bucktooth gets the rebound from midfield, returns it right over to Tavares. Tavares lead back to Dostie with a shot, and Patterson got a shoulder of that one. Rebound is picked up by Minnesota and cleared back out to midfield they come. Buffalo leading it 9-8 with 1:47 left to play into the third quarter. Scott Stewart now for Minnesota. Trips in over the Buffalo line for the left side, goes field wide now over to Dean Hill. Hill looking for an opening, trying to get away from Stainhouse. Spencer Martin is there. He finds an open Ryan Ward. Ward with a good lane, takes the shot well wide. Rebound Dean Hill, shot straight on, and Thompson with the save right at the 30-second clock, or was that a 30-second clock violation?
No, they got the shot off. Thompson made the stop, ended up being a live loose ball. Billy D. Smith, very alert, gets to the loose ball and edges out one of the swarm players, and Mark Stainhouse able to get the loose ball for the Bandits. And here's a big key. Buffalo hasn't allowed any second chances for the Minnesota Swarm. They have gotten some shots, but they're not getting those loose balls in front of the net and getting the cheap goals.
Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Sean Pollock with the ball to the right side of the Buffalo net. Top of the slot feed. Will be an over and back charge as Spencer Martin couldn't make the connection. So Buffalo's ball with 50 seconds remaining. We welcome our viewers and listeners this afternoon on the B2 Network. John Gertler along with Randy Mearns, Kyle Sconey, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, our statistician. Buffalo leads this one 9-8 in the final minute of play here in the third quarter as Dostie works the ball over to the far side to Bomberry. Bomberry to Rhett Bucktooth. Bucktooth over to Dostie. He scores! Dostie!
Great goal by Kevin Dostie. One of the best Buffalo Bandit players that works the pick and roll, and then finds the seam and gets a real nice feed and buries it top left. He's been aiming for that spot all game. The last 3 or 4 times he's hit post or Patterson's come up with the left shoulder. This time he beats him cleanly. Buffalo extends their lead by 2.
So the first big lead of the game for the Buffalo Bandits. After being put to sleep by Minnesota in the first part of the game, 4-0, they've come back now to take a 2-goal lead here in the closing minute of this third quarter. And Dostie, a hat trick so far this afternoon for Dostie, who again has been playing exceptional lacrosse here for the Buffalo Bandits. Even despite with a loss on Friday night to the Nighthawks, turned in a stellar performance as he did on Saturday night in the meaningless game. Dostie was the best player on the field for the Buffalo Bandits in that losing effort in Rochester last Saturday night. And now with 10 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, the extra attacker is out for Minnesota. Ward leading the way, but getting a couple of swats from Billy D. Smith, firing the ball over to Pollock. There's a shot straight on by Martin at the closing seconds. And Philip Sanderson is there to hang on to the ball, and the third quarter is history. And Buffalo goes to the fourth frame of regulation time with a 2-goal lead, 10-8. You're listening to Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse this afternoon on WWKB 1520.
And with no further ado, Bandits.
Can you hear me? How much time, Kyle? All right. Oh, my God.
Getting better. Oh, just twisted. I'm okay.
Fourth frame coming up here at HSBC Arena with the Buffalo Bandits finally with the lead 10-8 over these pesky Minnesota Swarm. And Mike Side at press row with us here from the broadcast location is Steve Dietrich. Chugger, a situation last week that was very strange, and it certainly had to feel very strange to you out on the turf after making that one initial save on a Kersey, and then something happened. It just popped out.
Yeah, I found out that I'm not as flexible as I once was, Johnny. I twisted and my knee didn't turn with me, so it popped out. But it's not as bad as we originally thought, so we're hoping if we can get by tonight, next week against Rochester, if not the championship game.
Tell us about the recovery program. What do they have you doing right now in order to gain the flexibility that you had?
Basically, we're going to the gym a couple times a day. We're doing massage and we're doing physio and then, of course, ice and heat and stuff like that. So we're doing everything we can. The only problem is, like I said, we don't have a lot of time. So we're doing everything we can to try and get it healed as quickly as possible.
And what do they expect the rate of return to have you back into the lineup should Buffalo get out of this game here this afternoon?
We're shooting for next week. I don't know if I'll be 100% by next week, but we're shooting for next week. You know what, though? Mikey's playing fantastic, so it doesn't really matter which way we go, whether it's Mike or me, we should be okay.
And what do you think out of the field right now, the style of play that Buffalo's turning in? Even though it was a little scary when Minnesota took a 4-0 lead, what do you think was going on?
You know, I thought we were chasing a little bit too early. We were going up too high. Troy settled the guys down. Ever since then, we're keeping them to one-shot, possessions, nothing underneath, all outside shots. Mikey will eat that up all night.
Good to have you here in the press box. I know you want to be down on the floor, that's for sure.
Well, you know what? I realize it's a lot more difficult down there. You guys have it easy. Randy's eating sandwiches. You're drinking coffee. It's a lot easier up here than it is down there.
There's a goal by Buffalo. Now they lead by 3. Steve Dietrich, thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Steve Dietrich joining us here at the broadcast location, and Buffalo jumps up by 3. Yet another goal by Buffalo here with just a minute played in this fourth quarter. And I guess Steve was saying it all along that Troy was settling the forces down. Speaking for Troy Cordingley, the assistant coach for the Bandits, trying to get these guys into focus. And now they got a 3-goal lead.
And a great individual effort by Johnny Tavares. Looks to go underneath, slows up, stutter steps. 2 defenders slow down for the swarm, and boom, he just darts underneath, goes for the dive, but comes back short side. The Bandits are up by 3, 13:41 left in this fourth quarter.
Outlet pass by Patterson after stopping a shot by Buffalo. Worked along the way by Talbot, and he'll leave it to the far side. They'll try it back out to midfield with Dean Hill as he works his 6'3", 240-pound frame in across the Buffalo line along with Chad Culp. Culp now back over to Hill. Hill with a shot, but that's blocked by Chris White. And Hill couldn't get the full throttle. Culp getting the rebound. Saved by Thompson. Rebound to the near side. Casey Burns picks up the ball. Takes it back from the far corner. And fires it back along the way over to Ryan Ward. Ward now finding an open Minnesota player, but that play is intercepted by Buffalo's defense. And Kyle Laverty flips it back over to Pat McCready. Intercepted by Minnesota and returned right back into the zone. Good defense by Kyle Cooling. Swatting the ball out to midfield, and Clay Hill brings it in across the line. Here's Clay Hill for Buffalo. Field wide along the way to Teague with a shot. And Patterson got a piece of that one, turning it aside from the Minnesota net. Good defense by Tavares, who steals the ball away from Minnesota's Ross. Over to Teat. Teat along with Sanderson got a piece of that one. And now Kilgore comes up with it. Here's Teat with a low shot. That bounces along the near boards. Dan Teat gets the rebound. Field wide over to Tavares. He lets it go to Paulus out to midfield. Paulus back to Tavares. Tavares into the far corner to Kevin Dostie. Buffalo leading it 11-8, and the 30-second clock expires on the Bandits. Fourth quarter action here at HSBC Arena in front of 9,003 fans. And a beautiful afternoon in downtown Buffalo. And Minnesota's shot goes wide. Rebound Hill, and Thompson stops that one at point-blank range. So Thompson getting the outlet pass along over to Stainhouse. Stainhouse in over the Minnesota line to the near side. Keeps the ball at bay from Minnesota Swarm. Getting themselves into defensive position, and Buffalo setting up on their offensive attack. There's Stainhouse with a shot, and Patterson coming up with a save. And the Minnesota netminder getting the outlet pass over to Talbot. Talbot leaving the ball out to midfield. Carried up by Ryan Sharp. Sharp to the far side. In over the line comes Spencer Martin over to Ryan Ward. Ward now over to Dean Hill. Hill works the right point. Top of the slot. Shot by Ward. Wide to the Buffalo net. Rebound Minnesota. Like their second effort, and Culp is there. And crease violation will afford Buffalo to get out of their own zone, and White brings it back out. And also a penalty coming up off ball.
The penalty's going to go against Chad Culp for interfering with the goalie in the crease.
All right.
Buffalo's going to have a 6-on-5 opportunity with the extra attacker.
Kevin Dostie over to Paulus. Paulus with a shot that's stopped by Patterson. And with 10:30 remaining here in the fourth quarter, Buffalo goes back to work on the power play. And will be their fourth power play opportunity coming up here. And not too bad. They're 2 for 3, so.
Yeah, they're 2 for 3. The last power play opportunity that they had, though, they were a little bit stagnant. They kind of went into a dice formation, one up inside, 4 guys around. They didn't really move their feet. They didn't have the rotation that they had in that first half. As you mentioned, guys were cutting, pick, up, down. The ball was moving tic-tac-toe. But this is a very, very big momentum changer. This is one that can put them up by 4. You got to capitalize on your opportunities. Buffalo's done a pretty decent job. Let's see if they can capitalize here.
Corey Bomberry from the top of the slot takes a shot that goes wide. Got hit along the netting area, so it'll be Minnesota's ball. So time will tick off on the penalty as Minnesota brings it out to midfield. Buffalo with an 11-8 lead now here in the fourth frame. Ryan Cousins with the ball. Leading the penalty killers Works it on the left wing lane to the outside. Now deep into the Buffalo zone. Works it back outside to midfield. Try it to the near side with Spencer Martin. Does a nifty deke from Kyle Cooling. Shot goes wide. Rebound along the boards, and Laverty is there. Laverty immediately getting the ball out to midfield as it's played off the turf and boards by Clay Hill, and the front door will open up for Buffalo's potent power play. Teeter in over the line. Now over to Palace, top of the slot is Bomberry, back to Palace, now back to Bomberry. Bomberry, there's a shot straight on by Dostie, turned aside by Patterson. Rebound as Tavares from the far corner runs behind the Minnesota net. Looks to feed out in front, does top of the slot over to Bomberry with a shot that goes wide.
And Tavares is...
How he got a piece of that one,
well,
too.
Tavares is in behind the net, kind of playing like Wayne Gretzky used to do him behind the net. Feeds it out to Corey Bomberry, who's up high, straight from him. And Bomberry lets the gunner go and almost hits Tavares in behind the net. You definitely don't want to get hit with a ball coming from Bomberry.
Minnesota shorthanded just outside the line, throws it down to the right side of Thompson, comes up with a save to the side of the Buffalo net and gets the outlet pass along to Richie Kilgore, who leads the way for Buffalo's attack right to the Minnesota line from the left wing lane. Throws it back to Stainhouse. Stainhouse now at the Minnesota line. He'll flip it over to Teat from the top of the slot, over to Dostie from the far side, back to Teat. Teat shot straight on. That got blocked into traffic. The rebound to Minnesota, and Cope is there fresh in the box, comes up with a shot wide of the Buffalo net. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. Richie Kilgore over to Dan Teat. Teat now directing traffic over the Minnesota line to the near side. Top of the slot over to Tavares. He dekes his way in. Here's Tavares. Working it back out in front. That's blasted by Minnesota's defense and returned back out to midfield. 11-8 Buffalo, and here comes Minnesota straight on. Thompson comes up with a big save. Rebound. Delby Palace back out to midfield for Buffalo. 7:47 left to play, fourth quarter. Buffalo leading it 11-8. Palace over to Bucktooth. Bucktooth field wide over to Bomberry. Bomberry in over the line. Looks for an open seam. Gets some blocking along the way, but Bomberry's taken down to the floor, loses the ball. It's swept by Minnesota back out to midfield, and now it's picked up by Eric Pacey. Eric Pacey in over the line, takes the shot. That dribbles to the right side of the Buffalo net. Ryan Ward gets the rebound to the far side. Checked along the boards by Chris White. Loses the ball, and White will apparently have a penalty. And the extra attacker is out now for Minnesota as the penalty's coming up against Chris White. Minnesota now setting up their extra attacker. From the top of the slot is Ryan Ward. There's a shot into traffic blocked by Billy D. Smith. And Smith leaving it out, and Clay Hill is there and captures possession. So a penalty coming up against Chris White, who goes immediately to the box. 6:55 left to play, fourth quarter, 11-8 Buffalo this afternoon on WWKB 1520.
Box Grove Street Grill is your official pre- and post-game headquarters in the Buffalo Bandits. Join the Bandits tonight at Grove Street. Grove Street Grill and Brewing, 856 beer. All right, fans, we're 209 and 210. Bandit Land loves their big licks and the big hits. So, you know what that means? It's time for tonight's Karuba Collision. Direct your attention to the Jumbotron. Hit number one for today's Karuba Collision. Eligible to be the Karuba Collision of the game. Look at number 72, Gordon Bomberry. Dropping a bomb on the Minnesota Swarm. Now it's time for hit number 2. 16, Richie Kilgore. About to lay the lumber on a Minnesota. Oh! Are we going to re-rack them? But man, and that, we need to know what you like. Did you like number 1, Corey Bomberry?
What?
Or
Did
like
I?
number 2, Richie
I don't think we did.
Oh. This re-rack and show it again is today's Karuba Collision.
Did we,
16, Richie
maybe we missed the 10. Yeah, we did.
Laying it down. Fans, make the right decision. Assist.
The winner of this game this afternoon will play the Rochester Nighthawks Friday night in Rochester at the Blue Cross Arena. Draw time will be at 8 o'clock. Should Buffalo win it, yes, we will have the game for you live here on the 50,000-watt WWKB, as well as other participants down the line to the Buffalo Bandits radio network. But right now, we've got quite a lacrosse game here at HSBC Arena. Minnesota working with the man advantage for the next minute and 47 seconds and doing a nice job of ball control down into the Buffalo zone. Dean Hill with the ball. Works at top of the slot over to Spencer Martin. over the shoulder. Now to Ryan Ward with a shot. Dean Hill gets the rebound. Back over to Martin. Martin back to Dean Hill. Hill from the outside. Try to give and go over to Sean Pollock, but they're forced outside the Buffalo line, and while they're doing that, the 30-second clock expires on the Minnesota Swarm.
Yeah, great rotation from the man-down unit of the Buffalo Bandits. Not giving the Swarm any lanes to the net, any good shots. And the Swarm don't even get a shot on net, and they waste their 30-second shot clock. Buffalo penalty killing, working in across the line. They were at 58% during the regular season. They, along with the Edmonton Rush, allowed the league's lowest in shorthanded goals. So Buffalo on their penalty killing will come up with yet another advantage here from the far corner inside the Minnesota zone. 1:03 left in the penalty to Chris White. Buffalo leads it now 11-8. John Tavares leading the Buffalo Surge, a 4-goal spree here in the second half to get back into this game. If you just joined us, Minnesota jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Crosby with the ball, shorthanded. One arms and scores! Crosby! Jason Crosby getting on the score sheet, extending the Buffalo Bandit lead to 4, and that's huge, John. 5:38 left, they're a man down. Crosby beats 2 defenders. Travis Hill's chopping. Ryan Cousins trying to double him up. And Crosby, a one-handed shot beating Nicky Patterson between the legs. And again, giving Buffalo that 4-goal commanding lead. You know, Crosby's been trying that the last couple of games on that one-handed thrust shot that he does. Powers his way in. Almost found net last week against Rochester, but today he finds it. So Jason Crosby on the scoreboard here for the Buffalo Bandits in this one-game elimination against the Minnesota Swarm. Get right back to work down in the Buffalo territory. The Swarm working it on it now. As time ticks down on the White's penalty, that being a shorthanded goal scored by Buffalo. 10 seconds left, but Billy D. Smith brings the ball back out for Buffalo along with Stainhouse. And Chris White will be fresh from the penalty box right now. So Buffalo is back to full strength. So with 4:50 left to play here in this fourth quarter, the Bandits coming back now and holding on to a 12-8 lead over these Minnesota Swarm. And the 9,000 in this game for sure, as Stainhouse shot turned aside by Patterson. Stainhouse gets his own rebound, hangs onto the ball, leaves it back over to Brett Bucktooth. Bucktooth field wide now over to John Tavares. Tavares back over to Delby Palace, who works along the way. Now to the far side over to Kevin Dostie. Shift change into effect for Buffalo as Crosby steps out on the turf along with Dostie. Dostie to the far side over to Tavares. Tavares from the slot area. Now forced back over to the right point. Takes the shot. He scores! JT! And I think Nicky Patterson got screened on that Tavares shot. Tavares, his third goal of the game. Getting a high screen and a high pick, floats to the outside and just throws a high to low short side. Nicky Patterson looking shocked that he actually shot it. I don't think he's seen it. Nonetheless, Buffalo Bandits have a 5-goal lead with 4:08 remaining in the fourth quarter.
So 4:06 remaining and another official timeout here at HSBC Arena. And Minnesota's just shaking their head right now. 13-8 Buffalo this afternoon on KB 1520.
Fox News tonight's attendance, 9,003. The Buffalo Bandits and HSBC Arena do thank you. All right, Bandit at 200 and 201. And I'll tell you what, Bandit, there's a lot.
Last Minnesota score.
Wow.
It's a beautiful day outdoors. Your Bandits are up 5 goals with 4 minutes to play. That means up on your seats, stand fans. Let's do it. Give a little something like this. Give a little something like this. It goes on you. Come on now. There you go. I'm done dancing. Now it's up to you. There you go. Get down tonight. You always want to be famous. There you go. Tell your friends you want to dance.
Good. what was ever said down in the Bandits dressing room at halftime has worked so far. Minnesota has not found net since the second quarter of play. So Buffalo has come on strong. Minnesota had the 8-7 lead at halftime, but after that it's been all Buffalo, and they now have a 13-8 lead. We've got 4 minutes left of regulation. Minnesota working with a man advantage. In a desperate situation now as Ryan Ward works the ball, top of the slot of Dean Hill, back to Ryan Ward with a shot. That's blocked off the side of Pat McCready. Now that one's going to leave a mark as McCready took that one at point blank range.
Yeah, he took that for the team, that's for sure.
Patterson works his way from the Minnesota bench. 30-second clock expires on Minnesota, so Patterson back into position from the bench, and Buffalo mounts the attack. Winner of this game this afternoon will meet the Rochester Nighthawks down in Rochester Friday. 8 o'clock draw time at Blue Cross Arena. We'll have the coverage for you on our flagship here at KB. Beginning at about 7:45 with our pregame show. Lead pass along the way over to Kevin Dostie, deep into the corner. Over the shoulder blind pass intended for Dan Teat. He was checked away from the ball, and the loose one is picked up by Minnesota. 3 minutes left to play in the regulation. In over the line comes Ryan Sharp, deep into the territory. Empty net for Minnesota. The sixth attacker is out. Dean Hill leads the charges along the way. There's Ward. Spencer Martin tried to connect on the give and go, but couldn't do it. Culp then fires it back over to Hill. Hill gets it back into traffic. Spencer Martin is there, but great defense by Kyle Cooling. Picks up the ball and he works it back out to midfield. 3-on-1 breakout for Buffalo. Here's Tavares. Back over to Stainhouse. Stainhouse takes the shot. Splitting save by Patterson. That was a beauty by the Minnesota netminder. And then he's got to run all the way over to the Minnesota bench.
Yeah, he's going to get tired. He's carrying a lot of equipment. Minnesota has no choice. They got to pull the tender, go 6-on-5. They're in desperation. They're down by 5, but they can be very, very costly because you got the empty net.
Boy, Thompson just made a beautiful save. Here's Clay Hill with a shot and a goal! Clay Hill carving one to the net.
It's the risk and reward factor, John. They put the 6-on-5, try to get that extra attacker, but it backfires on him. Clay Hill getting up and down the floor, getting the loose ball. As Nicky Patterson was running, trying to get back to the net. Clay Hill throws it from about 60 feet. Patterson dives. Just can't get there in time. Buffalo up by 6. 2:07 left.
So from the draw, scrambled for it, finds infraction against Buffalo, so Minnesota will afford the availability of mounting the attack with possession outside the face-off circle. Clay Hill remains between the pipes, waiting for the signal from the Minnesota bench. There's a low drive, kick save and a beauty by Thompson, and the bouncing ball comes back out to midfield. Good bounces going Buffalo's way here in the second half as well, scoring 6 goals so far in this game and leading it 7 goals, leading it now 14-8. 1:33 left here in regulation. Minnesota jumped out to a 4-0 lead in this game. But Buffalo has played strong, particularly here in the second half. Mike Thompson has been exceptional here in the second half. Power play working very nicely. Buffalo's defense back into coordination. Again, an intercepted ball by Clay Hill. He's been the star of the game here so far in the second half. Here we go with under a minute to play. The Buffalo Bandits with a 14-8 lead over the Minnesota Swarm. Boy, it did not look good in the first half at all for the Buffalo Bandits. In over the line comes Crosby. Crosby with the ball from the corner. Just hanging on to it. 43 seconds remaining here in regulation. 7 unanswered goals by the Buffalo Bandits. 38 seconds left. 14-8 the score. And Randy, a collective woo.
Yeah, I think
by these people here.
The scores finally started getting to the net, getting the open opportunities. But I'll tell you, the Buffalo Bandit defense, fantastic job keeping the Swarm goal scorers outside and not allowing any second opportunities. And Mikey Thompson playing a shutout half. Hey, you got to have good goaltending in the playoffs. He's got 19 saves this half. When you have good goaltending, you can go a long way. Mikey Thompson in the nets for Steve Dietrich, putting on a show tonight, Johnny.
How about this? What a mark by the Buffalo Bandits. They have won this game this afternoon, coming back a host number of times to win this one. It's a final 14-8 over the Minnesota Swarm. But here's the story, just like you had mentioned about defense, and it all goes between the pipes. Mike Thompson shutting out Minnesota for the entire second half. That's unheard of in the National Lacrosse League.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, and the last goal they got, the 8th goal, was actually an empty net goal because Buffalo was trying to do that 6-on-5. I'll tell you, Mikey Thompson just putting on a show, covering the angles. Defensively, defensively, the guys like Billy D and Lavs and Whitey and Clay Hill, Richie Kilgore, we don't talk about those guys enough. But fantastic defense, great communication, keeping everybody to the outside and then not allowing any second opportunities. That allows Mikey Thompson to come out, cover the angles. I mean, he was stepping out 6-7 feet right to the top of the goal crease. Fantastic effort all around. That second half, great half of Buffalo Bandit lacrosse.
Bandits win it here this afternoon by a final score of 14-8 over the Minnesota Swarm. The traditional handshake that goes on not only during the regular season, but particularly here in the playoffs. The Bandits advance to the next round, and that will be against the Rochester Nighthawks on Friday night at Blue Cross Arena for the 8 o'clock draw time. Right now, let's go back to the first quarter of play, where the Minnesota Swarm seemed to have the Bandits' number by jumping out to a 4-0 lead and playing relentless style lacrosse. What type of adjustments were made to stymie this attack?
Well, you know what? I don't know if they really made any adjustments other than to wake up. Like, hello, we're playing a game. You know, again, it's a Tuesday afternoon game. Maybe they were coming in. I'm not going to say overconfident, but, okay, hey, you know what? We're confident. We're playing Minnesota. We've beaten them before. Life's good. And all of a sudden, Minnesota just jumped on them. And I think for that first 5-6 minutes, it was kind of like, whoa, everybody's back on their heels. Had the TV timeout, the coaching staff, hey, guys, like, we're in a game. Then as soon as they got that first marker, then all of a sudden you could see the flow. You could see the flow from an offensive standpoint, from a loose ball standpoint. Okay, made it 4-2. Okay, we're in this game. And really, the rest of the game, in my opinion, Buffalo just dominated in every facet. The loose balls, the transition game, and then Mikey Thompson again. What can we say? You know, you got to have good goaltending. Mikey Thompson, the backup, coming in, standing on his head, John.
He did just that in the second half by shutting down Minnesota. I mean, shutting them out. Not a goal scored by Minnesota in the second half of play. Randy Mearns had mentioned about Buffalo's defense contributing not only in their own zone, but also a part of the play, and here's the end result. Clay Hill, probably the best game that he's ever had as a Bandit, and coming to the game today with a goal and 3 assists. I mean, here's Chris White with 3 assists.
Yeah, these guys were getting up and down the floor. You know, and that's the thing. I mean, and I tell you, having Patty McCready back in the lineup kind of adds that another little oomph. Billy D. Smith, they got guys that can get up the floor in transition. And if you get those opportunities of 4-on-3, 3-on-2, the Bandits have the goal scorers that can get the job done. It's just you got to get the loose ball and you got to run. You can't. And the big component to that though is they weren't letting Minnesota get those second chance opportunities. It was right on the loose ball and go, and that was great Bandit ball.
Post-game activity here at HSBC Arena, where the Buffalo Bandits have defeated the Minnesota Swarm 14-8. They advance to the next round. The Eastern Conference Finals will be held Friday night in Rochester. The draw time will be at 8 o'clock at Blue Cross Arena. Taking a look at more contributions from the official scoring this afternoon, John Tavares with 3 goals and 2 assists, and Kevin Dostie, who we had mentioned about in the remaining 2 games of the regular season. A spectacular performance a week ago Friday night here, and a very strong performance Saturday night, a meaningless game in Rochester, and contributing again today with yet another hat trick.
Oh, he's so good, and he works so well with Johnny Tavares. You know, they run that pick and roll, slip pick game. He's great on ball, he's great off ball, and he's got a great shot. Real quick release, sometimes hard to really pick up on, and he can pick corners. And today, I mean, he got 3 goals. He could have just as easily had 7 or 8 today, John.
Delby Palace with a goal and 3 assists. Corey Bomberry with a couple of assists. Jason Crosby with 2 goals. He's finding net again, feeling pretty good about it. Dan Teat is another player that was snake bitten near the end of the regular season. He found net twice. Now, let's wrap all this up and together and figure out the attack against the Rochester Nighthawks. What do you, as a former player and from both sides of the fence, tell you what, Rochester's a very tough club right at the moment, and where I see them just from the peripheral looking from the outside is that their transition game is exceptional. They're very quick at doing it. Their goaltender O'Toole is very much a part of their attack by their outletting pass, and they do their attack so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they're a phenomenal team, no doubt about it, John, and it's going to continue to be a battle. Obviously, Buffalo playing the last 2 regular season games there. I'm not going to take anything into the second game, as you said, was kind of a meaningless game. Coach Kilgore decided to rest some of the guys, and Buffalo's going to be pumped. They're going to be confident to go play now. Right off the get-go, you have to have the good goaltending. And is Steve Dietrich going to be able to get back? Who knows? But you know what? I think the guys have confidence in Mikey Thompson if he's the guy that's got to go. That being said, then it's got to start with the defense, John. They got to contain John Grant Jr. You're not going to stop him, but you got to contain him. And if you can contain him early, as opposed to letting him get 8 points in the first half,